In 1993, I was startled awake in the middle of the night by a ringing telephone. Hello, I answered. Yes, this is Professor Holt. Yes, the one who researches ancient Bactrian history. Why are you calling me at this late hour? Wait, say that again? Would I like to buy some newly discovered Bactrian coins for $1 million per ton? From where? Mir Zakah, Afghanistan? Now I was wide awake. You will not find tiny Mir Zakah on most maps of the world. It consists only of a few houses clustered alongside an old caravan route leading out of Afghanistan. Explorers have found no signs there of an extensive ancient settlement. No city, no palace, no temple, nothing but the remains of a well that once concealed the greatest treasure ever tossed into a hole in the ground. The first inkling of the old well's secret came in 1947, when a local resident spied something shiny at the bottom of her water bucket. Fingering an ancient gold coin, she screamed out to her startled companions, "Gold! Gold!" Soon a crowd converged with buckets, shovels, or just their bare hands to join the frenzied search for more. One coin became a dozen, then 100, then 1,000, and finally more than 13,000 ancient coins, plus other valuables. Within days, rumors of this extraordinary find reached Kabul, where the Afghan National Museum quickly dispatched its curator, Ahmed Ali Kozad, to investigate the discovery. Kozad spent the first 2 weeks of June 1947 at Mir Zakah, attempting to find more artifacts and to recover those already looted by the locals. His arrival, however, stirred up a great deal of resentment against the government by the Mongol tribe of Pashtuns, who considered themselves the rightful owners of the treasure, and they had guns to back up their claim. So Kozad wisely cut short his stay after gathering all the coins he could find or buy for the museum's numismatic collection. A year later, hoping the residents of Mir Zakah might now be more welcoming, an archaeological delegation arrived from Kabul, but under strict military guard. The team conducted a small, hurried excavation that uncovered hundreds more coins and other valuables. In various publications, scholars struggle to make sense of this first miraculous discovery at Mir Zakah. Why was so much ancient wealth concentrated in such an isolated place? A few suggested that an army had successfully raided Bactria in late antiquity, but then met some sort of misfortune. Perhaps in desperation, the looters dumped their treasure into the well at Mir Zakah and never could retrieve it. Other scholars prefer to think that the hoard represented centuries of offerings thrown into a sacred well by passing travelers. Further explorations were not possible, even though a delegation of Indian archaeologists traveling through the area in 1956 reported that coins were still being found at the site. Meanwhile, 3 display cases in the Kabul Museum exhibited a sampling of the coins that had been rescued from Mir Zakah. And that brings me to that late-night phone call many years later. The caller was a coin dealer in Europe, hoping to sell part of a truly massive new hoard from Mir Zakah, amounting not to thousands of coins, but hundreds of thousands. So many, in fact, that they were being marketed by the ton. Of course, I had no interest in such a transaction, since the treasure had obviously been looted and illegally smuggled out of Afghanistan. But I was certainly interested in the discovery itself and what it might someday tell us about the history of ancient Bactria. I was soon on the phone to Islamabad, New York, London, Turin, Geneva, Paris, and elsewhere, trying to piece together the whole story, which was complicated by the dire situation in Afghanistan itself. Amid a vicious civil war between rival factions, there were confusing reports of numerous other Afghan hordes coming on the market at the same time, not to mention the ongoing despoliation of the National Museum in Kabul and the loss of its numismatic collection on the international black market. Everyone had a different story to tell about the second miracle at Mir Zakah. Some informants told me that hundreds of millions of dollars had already been made from sales alone of the jewelry, inlaid bowls, statuettes, and other artworks from the hoard. Some of this the finest ever seen. These gold objects alone reportedly weighed more than 1,000 pounds. Then, of course, there were the coins. About 550,000 gold, silver, and bronze specimens, some of them unique. Let's put that into perspective. According to Connoisseur magazine in 1988, the so-called hoard of the century was found in Turkey and contained 1,900 silver coins with a total weight of 58 pounds. Not bad, of course, but a bit premature to be called the hoard of the century, considering the second Mir Zakah hoard itself weighed upwards of 4 tons and held over 500,000 coins. The number of coins in the second Mir Zakah hoard is over 6 times greater than all the coins from all the hoards ever found in Greece and Macedonia, as recorded in this respected academic volume. Nothing quite like the miracle at Mir Zakah had ever been seen before, and nothing like it may ever be seen again. It was as if an entire museum had been dredged from the depths of a wayside well in eastern Afghanistan. By far the best information about what is now called MZ2, that is the second Mir Zakah hoard, came from my remarkable colleague Osman Boparachi. In 1994, he visited Peshawar, a Pakistani city abuzz with talk about the treasure passing through its bazaars in large potato sacks. This was the first stop of the coins and other artworks on their way to collectors waiting around the world. Unable to travel safely to Mir Zakah, Boparachi did the next best thing. He interviewed local dealers and examined the contents spilling from 6 of those heavy bags, each one holding over 110 pounds of ancient coins. This massive amount was overwhelming for an academic numismatist, and yet this was but a pittance of the entire hoard. Tales of the treasure's discovery were being shaped by rumor, lies, myth, and misdirection. Some people simply recycle the narrative of the 1947 hoard, MZ1, namely that a local woman had spotted a gold coin in her water bucket. Others claim that no one could say for sure because the finders were already dead, killed in disputes over ownership. Some imagine that heavy rain had suddenly flushed out the well. In any case, brigands and warlords circle like hyenas, desperate to dominate the murderous struggle for control of the treasure. The winners set up a well-organized salvage operation using mechanical diggers and pumps. They allegedly loaded trucks with hundreds of heavy potato sacks stuffed with stolen riches. This was plunder on an industrial scale and completely beyond the reach of international law. 11 years later, Osman Boparachi finally made it to muddy Mir Zakah. There he was shown the unassuming spot where the gigantic hoard lay hidden for so many centuries. The pool was all but sucked dry now, with no chance of finding an archaeological context for perhaps the largest precious metal hoard in history. Of course, significance does not rest upon size alone. There were some individual treasures within the treasure. For example, entire books have been written about one coin in particular, the controversial gold Elephant Medallion depicting Alexander the Great. And that coin highlights the misery behind the miracle of Mir Zakah. Given the uncertainties surrounding the discovery and despoliation of the hoard, many experts doubt whether this coin was actually part of the find at all. They believe that it is a modern forgery tossed among the hundreds of thousands of genuine artifacts. After examining the coin firsthand, I do not agree with them, but without a reliable archaeological context, there is no sure way to validate its authenticity. That is what the looting of antiquities does to our knowledge of the past. It stirs doubt and dissension, muddling science as surely as some Afghan warlords had muddled these waters themselves. We might understand how, why, and when so much wealth was dumped into this hole, if only we knew more about how it eventually came back out. And where is the treasure now? Scattered to the winds by the wants of 1,000 collectors. Portions of the hoard lie in museums outside Afghanistan. Sacks of coins are rumored to remain in Swiss banks, and antiquities dealers have sold off individual specimens through auctions and private sales. The controversial gold medallion depicting Alexander the Great was purchased by a collector in London, and whenever my phone rings late at night, I half expect news of yet another find from the mysterious site of Mir Zakah. I'm Dr. Frank L. Holt, thanking you for your interest in my ancient world. After all, it's your ancient world too. Please do me a favor, hit that little red subscribe button in the corner and tell your friends about these videos also. I hope to see you and them next time.